A divine warrior's address. Children of the Most High, hear these words forged in light and spoken with the force of truth. You have faced a test, not crafted to break you, but to reveal you. The hearts of humans often tremble in uncertainty. They wonder who is loyal, who is true, who is aligned with purpose and destiny. Your person sought clarity, not to wound you, but to understand the strength of your spirit. And so the test came. But listen closely. What was meant to measure you has only magnified you. You walked through the trial with patience. You endured the storm with quiet strength. You held your ground even when doubt pressed against your soul. This is the mark of one who is guided, protected, and strengthened by heaven itself. No earthly test can undo what the Most High has established within you. No challenge can diminish a heart anchored in truth. For when you stand in your authentic light, nothing and no one can move you. Understand this. The test was not for you to prove your worth. It was for others to realize what heaven already knew. You are steadfast. You are loyal. You are chosen for a path that does not crumble under pressure but rises above it. Let no bitterness take root. Let no resentment cloud your heart. For those who test you are often those who need assurance that goodness still exists, and you have shown them that it does. Now walk forward with clarity. Walk with renewed purpose. Walk knowing that the trial has elevated your spirit and strengthened your destiny. And know this unshakable truth. Heaven sees you. Heaven knows you. Heaven stands with you. Rise now. Your test is complete. Your victory already written. The test revealed your true strength, not your weakness. What you walked through was never meant to destroy you, even though at moments it felt as if the ground beneath your feet was cracking and the weight on your shoulders was heavier than anything you had carried before. In the quiet moments when doubt crept in, when your heart questioned why you were facing yet another challenge, you did not realize that every step you took was exposing a deeper resilience inside you, one that even you had not fully recognized. Strength is not always loud, not always visible, not always wrapped in triumph. Sometimes it is found in the way you keep going when no one is watching, in the way you choose patience over anger, in the way you rise after disappointment has struck you again and again. The test you faced illuminated that quiet power within you. It showed that pressure does not break you, it clarifies you. It showed that your spirit is not fragile, it is fortified by endurance, sharpened by truth, and upheld by something higher than human approval. You may have thought the test was unfair, unnecessary, or even confusing, but every moment of it was revealing who you are when everything else is stripped away. When your emotions were stretched thin, when your expectations were challenged, when you were tempted to respond from pain instead of wisdom, your true character surfaced. You stood in integrity even when you were misunderstood. You remained steady even when you were questioned. You held on to grace even when you were provoked. These are not signs of weakness. They are the unmistakable marks of inner strength that many never learn to embody. What you endured showed that you don't fold when things become uncomfortable. You don't retreat when someone tests your loyalty or your patience. You don't abandon your values when the situation becomes emotionally intense. Instead, you become more grounded, more aware, more determined to act from a place of truth rather than impulse. This strength is something that cannot be faked, cannot be pretended, and cannot be forced. It only emerges from a soul that has been shaped by challenges in the past, a heart that has known disappointment but still chooses hope, and a mind that refuses to be controlled by fear. Your strength is not loud or boastful. It is quiet, anchored, and unshakable. It is the kind of strength that many overlook until they test it, only to realize that you are far more solid than they expected. The person who tested you may have imagined they were looking for weakness, inconsistency, or emotional instability, but instead they discovered your resilience. They discovered that your loyalty is not shallow, your patience is not temporary, and your commitment does not vanish under pressure. They witnessed the depth of your spirit, the steadiness of your character, and the unwavering truth that you do not crumble when circumstances become difficult. And even if they never say it aloud, the test taught them more about your value than words ever could. You may not feel strong every day, but strength is not measured in how you feel. It is measured in how you respond. You responded with clarity. You responded with maturity. You responded with a heart that refuses to be hardened even when tested. That is true power. Many people show strength only when life is easy. You revealed yours when everything was uncertain. That kind of strength is rare. That kind of strength is seen by heaven and honored by destiny. In every moment of the test, a truth was being uncovered. You are capable of carrying far more than you thought. You are capable of standing firm even when someone pushes boundaries or questions your intentions. You are capable of navigating emotional complexity without losing your sense of self. You are capable of remaining loyal without becoming blind, patient without becoming passive, compassionate without becoming weak. You have grown in ways you did not fully see until this test forced that growth into the open. Your strength is not accidental. It is the result of everything you have survived before this moment. You learned endurance from past disappointments. You learned discernment from past betrayals. You learned emotional steadiness from times when chaos tried to swallow your peace. Nothing about your strength happened overnight. It was forged through seasons where you had no choice but to overcome. This test simply illuminated what was already there. The test did not weaken you. It revealed what you were made of. It exposed the depth of your courage, the persistence of your hope, and the purity of your intentions. Others may have expected to find fragility, but instead they encountered faith. They may have expected to see fear, but instead they saw determination. They may have expected you to react impulsively, but instead they watched you choose self-control. And in doing so you proved not only your strength to them, you proved it to yourself. Even now you may not realize how powerfully you stood. You may be reflecting on what happened, analyzing each moment, wondering whether you should have done something differently. But understand this, your response was stronger, wiser, and more grounded than you give yourself credit for. You remained true. You remained authentic. You remained aligned with what is right rather than what is easy. That is the essence of true strength. This test, no matter how uncomfortable, has positioned you for greater things ahead. It has shown those around you that you are not to be underestimated. It has shown the unseen realms that you are prepared for the next stage of your journey. And it has shown your own heart that you are capable of walking through the fire without losing your light. You did not fail. You did not fall apart. You did not give in to pressure. You rose. You endured. You revealed. And now, because you have been proven, your spirit stands stronger than ever. Your loyalty remained unshaken under pressure. Even when the circumstances pressed against you with a force that could have easily caused your heart to retreat, or your trust to fracture, you held firm to what you knew was right. Loyalty is not simply about staying. Anyone can stay when everything is comfortable, predictable, and peaceful. True loyalty is proven when confusion rises, when doubt is stirred, when actions don't match words, and when you have every reason to walk away. That is when real loyalty shows its face. And you showed it. Quietly, steadily, without demanding recognition, without dramatizing your commitment, without needing to prove yourself. You simply remain true. This is something rare, something many claim but few embody. When pressure came, it didn't distort your character. It didn't push you into disloyalty, impulsive reactions, or emotional retaliation. You did not turn your back in frustration, nor did you respond with bitterness or coldness. Instead, you held on to your truth with a calm strength that only those who possess genuine loyalty understand. You were loyal not because it was easy, but because it aligned with your integrity. People often confuse loyalty with naivety, but what you demonstrated was the opposite. You remained loyal with clarity, not blindness. You stayed connected while remaining grounded. You honored your connection while not losing yourself. That balance is proof of emotional maturity. Many cannot maintain under pressure. The pressure you endured was not simple tension. It was the kind that tests motives, the kind that exposes hidden fears, the kind that tries to shake your confidence in your role, your worth, and your place in another's life. Yet even when discomfort tried to push you into doubt, you did not abandon your truth. You may have questioned the moment, but you did not question your principles. You may have wondered what was really happening, but you did not forget who you are. You may have felt confused, but your loyalty did not bend. Instead, your loyalty remained anchored in something deeper than circumstance. There were moments when you felt unheard, unseen, or misunderstood. Those are the moments where many people react emotionally, letting frustration outweigh connection. But not you. You did not allow temporary discomfort to override long-term truth. You held steady even when your emotions were stirred. You remained consistent even when you didn't receive the reassurance you hoped for. Your loyalty became more than a trait. It became a testimony. It showed that you are someone who can be trusted, someone who doesn't give up at the first sign of difficulty, someone whose presence does not collapse under tension. The pressure revealed the depth of your commitment. It illuminated your self-control, your patience, and your willingness to stand in alignment with what you value. Loyalty is not proven in the easy seasons. It is forged in the moments when someone's actions challenge your expectations. You didn't withdraw your care, you didn't weaponize silence, and you didn't allow frustration to turn you resentful. Instead, you chose steadiness over chaos. You chose clarity over reaction. You chose loyalty over fear. This strength you carried was not forced. It flowed from the core of who you are. You understand that loyalty is not a performance. It is a reflection of inner truth. You do not act out of insecurity or desperation. You act from sincerity. That sincerity held you together when things around you felt uncertain. Many people talk about loyalty, but what they call loyalty is really dependence or attachment. What you demonstrated was genuine loyalty, the kind that comes from courage, emotional intelligence, and an unshaken sense of self. Your loyalty did not make you smaller. It made you stronger. It allowed you to navigate the pressure without losing your dignity. It kept you grounded even when the situation tested your patience. It strengthened your ability to hold space for complexity without collapsing under it. And this loyalty is not weakness. It is strength that grows only in those who have experienced deep disappointments before, and still choose to stand with authenticity. Even when the pressure may have tempted you to doubt someone's intentions, you did not let suspicion take control of your heart. You allowed room for understanding, room for patience, room for the possibility that the test itself was revealing more than the situation seemed to show. This is not something everyone can do. Many people lose themselves under pressure. They react, they break, they detach. But you held your center. You remained true. The loyalty you displayed sent a message louder than any words you could have spoken. That you are someone who shows up even when things are unclear. Someone who values connection more than ego. Someone who does not break trust just because circumstances become uncomfortable. This is the type of loyalty that cannot be bought, cannot be imitated, and cannot be taken for granted. You may not realize how powerfully you stood. You may feel like you were simply doing what felt right, but what felt right for you is exactly what many cannot do. Your loyalty under pressure is proof of your strength, your maturity, and your emotional clarity. It is evidence that you are not fragile, not inconsistent, not easily swayed. You are stable in ways that only genuine loyalty creates. This test did not diminish you. It highlighted you. It showed that you do not operate from impulse but from integrity. It showed that pressure does not distort your heart but reveals its unwavering nature. It showed that you are capable of maintaining faith in something even when circumstances feel unsure. That is rare. That is powerful. And now, after everything, your loyalty stands as undeniable proof of who you are, someone whose commitment is real, whose heart is steady, and whose presence remains true even when tested. The trial clarified your worth to those who doubted. Sometimes people do not truly see what they have until circumstances strip away the comfort of assumption and place them face to face with the reality of who stands before them. Doubt often comes not from your actions, but from their own uncertainty, insecurities, or fears. So life created a situation, a moment, a pressure point that forced everything hidden beneath the surface to rise. In that moment, the truth of your worth became undeniable. What others may have overlooked, minimized, or taken lightly was suddenly illuminated by the way you handled the test. You did not collapse under confusion. You did not retreat in frustration. You showed depth, consistency, and emotional clarity, things that become unmistakably visible only when a situation demands them. Your worth, once questioned, became evident in the patience you held, the steadiness you maintained, and the grace you offered, even when you had every reason to react differently. Those who doubted you were not doubting your value. They were doubting their own understanding of you. They were unsure if you were genuine, if your intentions were true, if your presence was as consistent as it appeared. They were searching for truth, clarity, reassurance, or confirmation. And instead of explaining with words, the test became the proof. When pressured, your character did not bend. When challenged, your heart did not shift. When misunderstood, you did not abandon your truth. Every action you took became a mirror, reflecting back the deeper reality of who you are. What they thought they might discover, weakness, impatience, or instability, was replaced by something far more powerful, your undeniable worth. Your worth is not measured by how loudly you defend yourself, but by the quiet steadiness you carry when others question you. You did not rush to prove anything. You did not try to convince anyone through force or manipulation. You simply remained aligned with your integrity, and that alone revealed the truth. The test stripped away illusions, not yours, but theirs. It forced others to see the strength, loyalty, depth, and emotional wisdom within you. It showed them that your presence is not fleeting. It showed them that your intentions are not shallow. It showed them that your heart is not easily swayed or clouded by ego. What they doubted became the very thing they began to admire. Clarity came not because you changed, but because your consistency stood unshaken in a moment designed to expose the real from the false. Many people show their best only when life is smooth, but you showed your essence when things became uncertain. That is when your worth shone the brightest. It is easy to underestimate someone who carries their strength quietly. It is easy to overlook someone who chooses patience over noise. Yet when placed under pressure, your true self emerged in full light, powerful, grounded, and unmistakably genuine. The test became a revelation. It made others realize that you are not ordinary. Your patience spoke volumes. Your stability became undeniable. Your silence, instead of being emptiness, became strength. Your ability to navigate emotional intensity without losing yourself showed that you possess a depth many do not understand until they witness it firsthand. Your worth was not proven through perfection, but through authenticity. Through your ability to remain aligned when everything around you shifted. Through your willingness to stay true when others would have reacted impulsively or walked away. The doubt they carried transformed into newfound respect. The uncertainty they felt transformed into recognition. They began to see that you are someone who stands firm even when tested. Someone who does not crumble under pressure. Someone whose intentions hold steady even when emotions run high. They saw that your presence is not accidental but intentional. That your loyalty is not conditional but rooted in sincerity. That your care is not superficial but grounded in truth. Your worth is no longer a question. They saw it with their own eyes. They felt it in the way you responded. They experienced it in the strength you displayed. The trial became the lens through which your value was magnified. What once seemed ordinary became extraordinary. What once felt uncertain became undeniable. What once was doubted became deeply respected. The clarity they received was not of who you might be, but of who you already are, and now they understand that your presence is something rare, something steady, something real. They see your heart for what it truly is, a heart capable of loyalty under pressure, patience under stress, love without manipulation, and strength without aggression. You did not need to justify yourself. Your truth justified you. You did not need to fight for recognition. Your character brought recognition naturally. Now they know your worth. They know the depth you carry. They know the sincerity of your intentions. They know that when life becomes complicated, you do not run, you stand. And this revelation has changed the way they see you forever. You emerged aligned with divine purpose and greater clarity. The challenges you faced were not random, they were intricately woven into your path to uncover what had been hidden, strengthen what had been weak, and illuminate what had seemed uncertain. Every moment of confusion, every emotional shift, every uncomfortable pause was guiding you toward a deeper understanding of who you are and what you are meant to carry forward. This alignment didn't happen suddenly. It happened through each internal decision you made, to stay grounded instead of overwhelmed, to respond with patience instead of fear, to trust your inner wisdom instead of external noise. You are being shaped, refined, and prepared, even when the process felt draining or unclear. And now, on the other side of the test, you stand with a clarity that only experience can produce. There is a certain kind of clarity that cannot be taught. It must be earned. It comes from walking through moments where your emotions try to pull you in different directions, where your mind wrestles with uncertainty, and where your heart is challenged to remain steady. You walk through such a moment, and instead of losing yourself in the tension, you found yourself. You learned what matters to you. You discovered what you will no longer tolerate, what you truly value, and what stands in alignment with your truth. Divine purpose doesn't reveal itself in perfection, but in the contrast between what harms and what heals, what drains and what empowers, what confuses and what brings peace. Through the test, the contrast became clear, and your spirit aligned with the path meant for you. You did not emerge bitter, you emerged wiser. You did not emerge wounded, you emerged awakened. You did not emerge scattered, you emerged centered. This is the power of alignment. It transforms the chaos into clarity, the confusion into understanding, and the test into preparation. You recognize that not everything requires your reaction, not everyone deserves your energy, and not every situation is meant to shake your foundation. Instead, you learn to anchor yourself in what resonates with your higher calling. And this anchoring revealed your next steps with far greater clarity than before. The test you endured peeled away illusions, not only about others, but about yourself. You saw just how strong your spirit is, how deeply your intuition speaks, and how naturally your heart gravitates toward truth. You realize that your sensitivity is not a weakness, it is a compass, that your empathy is not a burden, it is a gift, that your patience is not passivity, it is mastery. These qualities, once challenged, became sources of power rather than points of vulnerability. In the tension of the test, you met the truest version of yourself, one who is far more aligned with divine intention than you had previously recognized. Your clarity now is not just intellectual, it is spiritual. It is the knowing that arises when your soul recognizes what is in harmony with its path. You may not have received every answer you wanted, but you received the guidance you needed. You saw which connections bring peace and which bring confusion, which situations elevate your purpose and which drain your energy. You learn that alignment is not about controlling circumstances, but about choosing responses that reflect the highest version of yourself. And in making those choices, you stepped into a new level of purpose. There is a quiet strength in knowing that your steps are guided. You began to feel this guidance more clearly as the test unfolded. Even in moments of discomfort, something within you was working, adjusting, revealing. You were being led away from what distracts you and toward what develops you. Led away from fear and into confidence. Led away from doubt and into inner certainty. The clarity you gained is a sign that you are not walking blindly. You are walking with support, direction, and sacred timing woven into every step. You also emerged with a higher awareness of what you bring into the lives of others. You saw the impact of your patience, the effect of your loyalty, the weight of your sincerity. Not everyone can handle the depth you carry, and not everyone recognizes it immediately. But the test made your presence unmistakably valuable, not because you tried to prove anything, but because your truth proved itself. You now understand the unique role you play in certain connections, and the importance of protecting your energy from situations that are not aligned with your purpose. As you walk through this experience, parts of you were being recalibrated. Old fears loosened their hold. Old insecurities began to dissolve. Old doubts lost their power. You stepped out of patterns of overgiving, over-explaining, and overthinking. The clarity you now carry frees you from repeating cycles that once drained your strength. You see your worth with new eyes. You trust your intuition with deeper certainty. You understand your path with greater depth. This is alignment, when every part of you begins moving in the same direction, supported by divine guidance. What you gained cannot be taken from you. This clarity is not temporary, it is transformation. It is the quiet shift inside you that changes how you walk, how you speak, how you choose, and how you move forward. It is the unshakable knowing that you are guided by something higher, strengthened by every challenge, and aligned with a purpose that continues to unfold with perfect timing. You emerged from this test not just standing. You emerged aligned, awakened, and equipped for what comes next.